May 8th, 2025. Hold that date in your head. May 8th. Because on that day, a South African blogger, Musa Khawula, posted about the wife of ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula. And this week, at the Madlanga Commission, testimony under oath alleged that post was followed by a chain of events that pulled in police resources, political offices, and even a private security company. Listen carefully, because every word here is allegation, and every allegation has consequences. Hit like right now. Subscribe. We are not going to stop digging into this story. This is not a video about whether you like Musa Khawula. This is a video about power, about process, and about one question that should scare anyone in a democracy. According to sworn testimony, who can allegedly lean on the system and make an arrest happen fast? Let's break it down, piece by piece. May 8th, 2025. Musa Khawula posts on X, formerly Twitter, about Nxumalo Mbalula, the wife of ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, and her business partner, Michelle Pero. He alleges a 150 million rand fraud and corruption scandal. 150 million. That's the number that makes people sit up. He frames it as a pattern. Tenders, alleged kickbacks, alleged schemes, stretching from 2013 to 2019. Now, those allegations were denied at the time, and later, a Johannesburg High Court ruled his claims unlawful and ordered him to pay damages. But here's why this matters for our story. Testimony at the Madlanga Commission alleges that this post put Khawula on the radar and set off events that ended with police moving on him. And it wasn't only about Mbalula's wife. Before the warrant ever drops, Khawula is also posting about a businessman, Vusi Matlala, known as Cat. According to testimony at the commission, Matlala runs a private security company called Cat VIP Protection Services, and Khawula's posts include allegations about Matlala's business dealings, claims that have not been tested in court. Now it gets weird. According to testimony, Major General Richard Shibiri, who headed organized crime in Gauteng, allegedly contacted Khawula directly. Screenshots discussed at the commission reportedly show Shibiri urging him not to publish about Matlala. Think about that. A senior organized crime officer allegedly stepping into a blogger's inbox about what the blogger should not post. And that's the moment the story stops being about a tweet and starts looking like a system. Now, watch what the commission actually put on the record, because this is where the story stops being internet drama and turns into something else. In the hearing, they refer to a WhatsApp message allegedly sent by Major General Richard Shibiri to Musa Khawula. And the key point is not the list of claims in the screenshot. The key point is this. A senior organized crime officer is allegedly weighing in on what a blogger should or shouldn't publish about a private individual. Here's the exchange as it's discussed in the commission bundle.
Witness F, I'm now going to ask you about certain things that took place a few days after this Thanksgiving function. And the starting point is at page 483 of the bundle. And there at chat number 5, at 8:45 in the morning on the 17th of September 2024, that's 3 days after the Thanksgiving function, General Shibiri sent you a message, and he was forwarding you a document, and you'll find that document at page 153 of the annexure bundle. And if you go to page 153, you see that what to Matlala.
That's correct.
And that post reads as follows. Tebogo Tebojani's ex-boyfriend Vusi Matlala and his wife Cordelia Matlala dive into their business. Vusi Matlala owns CAT VIP protection services. Vusi Matlala is friends with Vusi Keke and he's the co-boss of the Boko Haram gang. Vusi Matlala stands accused of defrauding 1 million rands at Tembisa Hospital. Cordelia recently had a little run-in with the law for traveling with police blue lights on. Vusi Matlala is connected in the killing of Babita Diakaram, or spelt Diakam in the post. Vusi Matlala used to operate his drug business through DJ Somebody. Batong, why do you all think DJ Somebody got shot like that?
So let's be very clear about what you just heard. That's material being discussed in a commission hearing, not findings, not convictions. And even witness F testified he cannot confirm whether the screenshots are authentic, only that Shabiri forwarded them to him. But the red flag is the behavior described around it. A top organized crime official allegedly telling a blogger, "Don't run the story, he's a good guy." That is not how this is supposed to work. So what happens next? Because according to witness F, after the warning, it doesn't stop. The story moves from "don't publish" to "go arrest." Now we get to the next step, the arrest warrant, and who allegedly started pushing for it. October 21st, 2024. An arrest warrant is issued for Musa Khawula. The charges listed, the Cybercrimes Act and crimen injuria. And according to testimony about the warrant, the complainants named include Fikile Mbalula and a businessman, Nxumalo. Now this is where the Madlanga Commission testimony starts flashing red. A witness known only as Witness F takes the stand. He's a member of Gauteng organized crime. And under oath, he tells the commission he received a call from suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrach Sibia. Witness F testified that Sibia told him the matter was important, urgent, and that he was told there was pressure from high offices, and then comes the decision that makes the room go quiet. Witness F testified that he sent the arrest warrant to a private security company linked to Vusi Matlala. Stop and think about that. A police warrant, a confidential police document, sent to a civilian security firm. Why would that ever be necessary? Witness F's explanation, under oath, was that he was told this company always has vision of where Musa goes on weekends. In other words, they could help track him. Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, who chairs the commission, pressed him hard on that. Because the commission noted this wasn't an isolated moment. It was part of a pattern being examined. Confidential police documents allegedly being shared with civilians. And that sets up the next moment, the one that made headlines. Because Advocate Matthew Chaskelson, the commission's chief evidence leader, looks at Witness F and asks the question every viewer is waiting for. Who was the deputy minister pressuring you to make the arrest?
What you see through the text messages is that he receives a picture regarding a particular firearm from this person that he saved in his phone as Comrade Didi Mabuza. They then discuss this particular firearm. He tries to tell the commission that he was interested in the firearm as an individual, but it appears from the pattern of the WhatsApp exchanges is that they may have been an alleged market and alleged potential buyers. Now, what the WhatsApp exchanges show is that this isn't really a deal that centers Witness F, but it appears that he is possibly an alleged middleman working on behalf of another individual. And what is alleged is that that individual is the Deputy National Commissioner, suspended Deputy National Commissioner Lieutenant General Shadrach Sibia, and the individuals who could allegedly be involved in terms of the potential buyers. That is when you see the names of Stephen Mutsumi coming up and Mswazi coming up in those WhatsApp exchanges, because after that message is sent and a meeting is arranged, you then start seeing Witness F forward messages to Stephen Mutsomi, who's said to own that security firm, and we've already heard evidence from Lieutenant General Nxumalo how these alleged criminal syndicates work, that seemingly what happens is that the alleged illicit dealings are often paired up with legitimate business, and the favorite or common option for the legitimate business seems to be this security firm. So you see this witness F being the common denominator in a number of alleged transactions or potential alleged transactions which center Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya and several other key figures that become relevant to this probe about the Madlanga Commission. In the next hour, we'll showcase several more patterns that continue to show up.
When the clip ends, here's what multiple media reports say happened next. Witness F's answer was Cassel Mathale. Cassel Mathale, the Deputy Minister of Police at the time. Let that sit for a second, because according to Witness F's testimony, the pressure wasn't just vibes or rumors. He testified that Sibiya told him the pressure was coming from the high office of Deputy Minister Cassel Mathale, and he testified that the reason he was given was blunt. This guy insulted a member of parliament, Fikile Mbalula, and Mr. Z. This is sworn testimony. These are allegations presented to the commission. They are not findings. But if they're true, they raise one terrifying question. Who can Cassel Mathale has categorically denied these allegations? And this is where the story turns into a straight collision. Sworn testimony on one side, a flat denial on the other. Because Matlala's response is not, maybe. It's not, I don't remember. It's a hard no. But before we get to his written denial, listen to this moment in the hearing, where the commission zeroes in on something basic. If this was just a cyber case, why did the arrest operation look like a high-risk takedown?
You had a Hawks officer, you had the Gauteng tracking team. What risk or danger did Mr. Khawula pose? Why did you need all these people to effect an arrest?
Thank you, commissioners. According to me, because I've communicated prior to Brigadier Ramangwa that I don't have manpower or crew at that time. So I assume that he phoned the tracking team because the tracking team was user-friendly to him. Most of the cases he was using the tracking team.
WhatsApp exchanges further reveal that Witness F sent the Khawula arrest warrant to alleged cartel member Vusi Matlala, an act which raised red flags to the Commission's bench.
If you were giving him this document to effect an arrest, you were basically asking him to do something that's not authorized by the warrant, and therefore that is unlawful.
The hearings continue.
Now, after that, Mathale responds in writing, according to reports, with two key lines. First, I have never had any such discussion with General Sibiya for the arrest of Musa Khawula or any other person. Second, I am also not aware of anyone who would have exerted such pressure from my office. So put it on the table. Witness F alleges pressure linked to the Deputy Minister's office. Mathale says, not me, not my office, not anyone around me. And this is exactly why commissions exist, to test credibility, timelines, messages, and motives. Because either a witness is misrepresenting what happened, or someone is hiding behind the wording. And the next part of the testimony is where that tension gets worse, because the timeline and the document sharing start to look less like procedure and more like a workaround. January 8th, 2025. Dundee, KwaZulu-Natal. Musa Khawula is arrested. According to reports, he's charged under the Cybercrimes Act, along with multiple counts of crimen injuria. He's taken through the system, appears in court, bail is denied, and he's remanded in custody. And this is where the story stops being abstract, because the number that keeps coming up is not a statute section. It's a time sentence, 110 days. According to multiple reports, that's how long he spent behind bars, with bail applications repeatedly denied. Now, here's an important detail for accuracy. Reporting has differed on the exact court posture and his custody status across matters after that period. Some coverage reported the matter was struck off the roll and that he was released in May 2025. Other coverage has reported continued detention on related issues. So for this video, we're going to stick to what multiple reports agree on. He was arrested in January 2025, bail was repeatedly denied, and the commission testimony is focused on how that arrest was allegedly handled. Now watch this clip, because it captures the argument that turned this from one blogger into a bigger debate about power and free speech in South Africa.
New media and the intimidation of new media. Whether you like him or dislike him, Musa Khawula is part of new media. The challenge with free speech is that you have to protect it even if you don't like some of the things that the people who are exercising the right to free speech are saying. So we do know that South Africa, under Section 16, protects the right to free speech and also protects the freedom of the media. And that includes the right to impart ideas, information. That is a very important right for a democracy. It's important because that is part of holding those in power accountable. It's part of creating transparency in a society. If free speech is brutalized, intimidated, harassed, if the practitioners of free speech go through these processes which have the apparatus of violence attached to them, we should be concerned. So this is actually bigger than Musa Khawula. Whatever you think about him, you have to be able to separate the man from the principle, right? I think he does serve a role. I think sometimes he's messy, but we have to ask ourselves, what are the implications? Right now, we've seen people intimidate new media practitioners. YouTube has played a bigger role. Twitter and TikTok have played a bigger role in breaking the veil of secrecy that exists with these, horse curry dons, the Big Five cartel, the horse curry behavior that has been eviscerating the South African economy, debilitating communities, and decapitating, the growth prospects of South Africa. YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter have done a bigger job and better job thus far than mainstream media. Case in point, Mr. SS. Mainstream media has done zero. They have no appetite whatsoever to luma, to bite, to nibble on the issue of SS. Same applies to Mboneni Maumela, Hangwani's mother. Same applies to other people who seem to be part of this Big Five. Why do we still not know who is Mr. Mteto and the details of Mr. Jabu Mteto? Why do we not know that? They should have told us more about these people by now. And they are still slow walking to this stuff and running to it only after it comes out at the commission sometimes. Most explosive information last week was about Mr. SS. Why is he not being covered by the media? That's an example. So Musa Khawula has covered a lot, and he apparently was now the victim of this wrongful arrest. Specialized police resources were used for his arrest. There's nothing that posed a threat to anybody from the tweets and posts of Musa Khawula. Let's be honest. It was just pure public embarrassment. There are remedies that exist to deal with defamation. There are remedies that exist. So if he broke any civil, line, or he crossed any civil line, there are remedies that exist for these powerful people to be able to deal with him. But it looks as if, in this case, Shibiri and Witness Funny Money were exchanging information, Sibia exchanging information about Musa Khawula. And after he got arrested, that information was also sent to Vusi Matlala, almost as if to say, that guy who has been worrying you has been dealt with. Similar to what we saw with the PKTT messages, which could not be explained why people were sending messages to... And
regardless of what you think of Khawula personally, that's the core tension. If you believe the testimony, this wasn't just law enforcement doing routine work. It was urgency. specialized resources, and private security allegedly pulled into the orbit of an arrest. And that brings us to the part where the commission starts picking at the seams, the timeline, the manpower excuse, and why confidential documents were allegedly moving out of police hands at all. Now we go from headlines to mechanics, dates, resources, who had what, when. Because this is where Witness F's version starts taking hits under questioning. Deputy Chief Justice Madlanga drills into the timeline, and according to media reports covering the session, he flags two problems that are simple but deadly. First problem, the manpower excuse. Witness F testified he needed Matlala's private security company because he didn't have enough capacity. But the commission heard that a Hawks officer and the Gauteng tracking team were already involved in the operation. So the question becomes, if you already have Hawks and a tracking unit, what exactly is the private security company adding, other than access? Second problem, the weekend story. Witness F testified he sent the warrant to Matlala over the weekend because he needed help locating Khawula. But the warrant date is October 21st, and Madlanga's point, as reported, is brutal in its simplicity. October 21st is not a weekend. So either the memory is wrong, the explanation is wrong, or the story is being reshaped to fit the decision. According to media reports, Madlanga indicated Witness F was not being truthful about the timeline. That is a serious signal from the chair of a commission. It means the credibility test is now live. Now add the money layer. Because in South Africa, money is not background, money is the map. Matlala's security company had contracts with the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department. An earlier commission testimony raised allegations about blue lights linked to those contracts. Why does that matter? Because it speaks to relationships and access. It speaks to a world where private security can start looking like an extension of public policing, and the line gets blurry. We're not declaring conclusions. We're following what is being put before the commission. And while the commission is doing procedure, the public is doing what the public always does, reading between the lines. Social media lit up. But the most important reaction isn't a tweet. It's what you hear inside the hearing itself. Because in this next clip, the commission presses the same issue again. Police documents, shared with civilians, and not just once.
It does appear to me that you simply gave it to him to show him that you are dealing with somebody who has been problematic to him.
That's not the way it seems. Maybe it's taken out of context, but according to me, I was sending to him to give a hand as per the instruction.
Yes. And it's now, this is a third document we've dealt with in your evidence, a third police document that has nothing to do with Mr. Matlala's cases that you are sending or sharing with Mr. Matlala. Do you remember the first one was that IT screenshot that showed, it showed the progress of a case in Mamelodi? That was the first one. And then there was the other one that showed, thank you, there was the other one that showed fingerprints and that case involving a heist. Do you remember that?
Commissioners, that was not for Mr. Matlala, that involved fingerprints. It was for Mr. Mutsumi.
Yes.
Correct.
And then there is this document which you say you have shared with Mr. Matlala. And in all three instances, these are police documents, these are SAPS documents, and they have nothing to do with the people you've shared them with. Do you accept that?
Thank you, Commissioners. I would not accept that. Reason being, Mr. Matlala, at that particular time, when I sent this to him, He was a legit security company owner.
That right there is the theme. Not just the warrant, not just one message. A pattern, alleged in the testimony, of confidential SAPS material moving outside the system. Now, let's be clear before anyone turns this into fan fiction. Musa Khawula is a controversial figure. He's faced multiple defamation cases. He's published claims that were never proven, and some statements have been ruled unlawful by a court. So this is not a morality play about whether he's good or bad. This is about process. This is about allegations of how an arrest was handled. And it is about testimony suggesting pressure and unusual coordination in law enforcement. And once you've heard that, the question becomes unavoidable. If it can happen here, how often does it happen elsewhere? The Madlanga Commission exists to investigate allegations of criminality, political interference, and corruption inside South Africa's criminal justice system. It was set up after KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nxumalo made explosive claims about politicians and senior police officials. And week after week, the testimony has pointed to the same theme: alleged power, access, and influence at the top. Witness F's evidence about Musa Khawula is just one slice, but it's a revealing one, because it alleges police documents shared with civilians, pressure from political offices, private security pulled into a police operation. President Cyril Ramaphosa has already referred 14 senior officials for criminal investigation based on the Commission's interim findings. The hearings continue, and Witness F is expected to resume virtually on February 6, 2026. So here are the only questions that matter now. 1. If this was a routine cyber case, why was a private security company allegedly involved at all? 2. Why was a confidential arrest warrant allegedly shared outside SAPS? 3. If pressure really came from a deputy minister's office, who applied it and why, especially when Matlala denies it? 4. And how many other arrests follow this same alleged pattern, but never reach a commission? This isn't just about one blogger. It's about the system, and whether it can be bent. And one final note for accuracy. Reporting has differed on Khawula's custody status and court posture across matters. What the Commission is examining is the alleged interference and the alleged handling of police documents around the arrest. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Witness F or Mathale's denial? And what would this mean for free speech and policing in South Africa? Because this story isn't over. It's just getting started.